Hello, Plaid Man. Episode, I don't know. We're just kind of doing stuff now. So I had an interesting experience today, and I was trying to figure out. Hi, puppy. Hi. That's my puppy. His name's Perrin. Hi, Peroonies. Peroonies is the name my lady gave him, which I tend to call him all the time because it's funny and adorable and cute. Anyhow, so I was walking my dogs, Perrin and his brother, and my other dog, Harvey. Anyhow, and because I got two full-size German Shepherds who are not very well trained, I have to go around the block twice, take the dog separate. So the first time I go, there's this dog, this white fluffy dog that shows up, and it's kind of just curious. Hey, what's going on? Blah blah blah. And it's like, okay, cool. My dog parent is like, hey, I'm interested in you. What's going on? What are you doing? What's your thing? And I'm like, hey, dude, we got to go on our walk. So I just kind of just start walking away, figuring, okay, the dog belongs to this house. Just got outside, should be all right. And then, okay, do the whole walk, whatever. And then I swap dogs. And then I got the bigger brother. His name's Riker. And I'm going same route. And same dog shows up. And I'm like, okay, this is weird. This is weird. So since the dog came from the same property, I go over to their front door, and they have like a screen door, but they're clearly there like watching TV. And I do the correct thing, and I'm like, hello, hey, just not trying to be weird, but hello. And they're like, what? And like, the wife's there with her kid, and husband's on his phone. He's like, what? Who are you? Oh, I just remembered. I totally forgot to return their leash. I have to go do that right now. Anyways, anyhow, that's the end of the story. I'll get there in a second. But anyhow, so I was like, hey, your dog's outside. And they're like, oh, that's not our dog. And I'm like, what do you mean? That's not our dog. The dog's been there for 3 days. I'm like, okay, the dog's been there for 3 days. Did you check the collar to see? Oh, no, it doesn't have a thing. And initially I thought it had like a collar, and I was like, well, why didn't you even bother doing that? Anyways, so I finished the walk because I need to take my dogs on a walk because they, need to go on a walk. And I walk back afterwards, and I say hi again. And I basically get the dog, and I'm like, all right, cool, blah, blah, blah. Like, and the guy's outside with me, and it's like, can I borrow a leash? And the dog's scared, but I get the dog, and it's fine. I end up carrying the dog instead of like pulling the leash. So I decide to go and take the dog to a shelter. I feel like the right thing to do. If one of my dogs was missing, that's the first place I would check. I get kind of confronted, if you will, by a neighbor a couple houses down, and he's a little inebriated. He's like, oh, but we have like a bunch of dogs a shelter, like, we'll take care of it. We'll take care of it. And I'm like, I don't know you. You just moved in. I don't care if you have a bunch of dogs sheltered. No. But I was starting to feel a little bad. So I talked to him for a few minutes. I'm like, no, it's okay. I'll go and see if he's got a chip or whatever. And then get to my car, get the dog inside. This dog in the car was just fine. No problem. Like, it was amazing. So get over there. While I'm waiting, of course, there's some Yahoo guy who's all tatted up, and he's being all feisty with the person at the shelter. Like, oh, why do you need my ID? I'm not going to give you my ID. I'll come tomorrow and talk to your supervisor type of, like, basically the Karen equivalent of gangster, right? The gangster Karen. That's who this guy was. And his like girlfriend, who I later found out after a brief conversation, was no longer his girlfriend, broke up with him because, I was going to say, like, hey, maybe you should stop dating this guy. He seems a little off kilter. Anyhow, so good to know she's not, although, whatever. I don't know what the drama is. He finally went away. Fine, no problem. And the dog escaped while I was waiting because this guy's being all aggro, and I had to go get the dog again. One tip that I learned, at least it worked for this dog, was in my full height and I'm walking close to the dog was all like, eh. But when I got down low, and I'm not terribly tall, but when I got down low, like at the dog's level, worked like a charm. The dog was like, okay, I'll chill out. And then I was able to get close enough and pick up the dog. Just food for thought. Also, fun fact, that's also true with children. Like if you have children in your life or you want to come across as like kind or nice to children, it's not terribly bad to politely go to their level. Now, that isn't to do the like thing that adults do where they're like, oh my God, how are you? When they get all down, or oh my God, or whatever version some people do this like condescending thing. Don't forget, children are just adults in training. They're not dumb. They're not stupid. You don't need to treat them like idiots. Be kind of. Anyways, I digress. Big digression. Anyhow, so I'm there at the shelter, and because I guess of COVID, they're like, oh, hey, Perrin wants more love. I'm talking and he wants more love. Okay, buddy. Okay, see, we're on the camera. So this nice guy who's already had to deal with some jack-a-mole before I got there, he's kind of telling me the spiel, and he's like, oh, okay, so this and this and this. Basically, if you can keep the dog at your house, we'll give you a crate and some food, take care of the dog for a couple days because of COVID. And I'm kind of looking at him strangely, like, I thought the whole point of a shelter, hey, buddy, stop nipping at me. He's nipping my shirt. He smells the other dog on my shirt. I gotta change shirts, otherwise he's gonna get super jealous. Knock it off. Hey. And I'm just I'm trying not to give this guy a hard time because it's not his fault. It's just silly policy. But in my head, I'm like, the whole point of a shelter, in my opinion, was a centralized location in the neighborhood where it's like, look, if you're missing your dog, then or your cat for that matter, somebody will find the dog and take it there, and then you can check it later, and ta-da. That's the whole point. But apparently things have changed and whatever. So anyhow, he was being very polite to me, and I was just like, okay, well, fine. Sadly, I can't. I have 3 dogs already and a full-time job. I can't really take this other dog, and I felt bad about it. Like, honestly, I felt really bad about it. I was like, maybe I should be a good person and take this dog home, and I'm sure I can make it go right. And I thought about it. And I talked to my girl about it, and my lady, and I came to the resolution and was like, well, okay, yeah, I could have done that. However, we really have a lot of animals. I got 7 cats. Ta-da! Sorry, knocked my ear out. We got 7 cats. We got 3 big dogs, and then her dog. So we can't really have, it's not really workable. So, anyways, my whole thought process really was, I just wanted to communicate that that's what transpired, and ironically, my girlfriend brought this up, that this is not the first time that I've done this. And I don't mean it as like a flex or like oh, I'm such an amazing person. No, not at all. It's merely a point of, that was the right thing to do. Like, I'm on a walk with my dogs, and I couldn't take the dog the first time. I just thought it was their dog, and second time I checked, and then I walked back. And if nothing else, I felt like the right thing to do was to get this dog to a safe location. And I was a bit upset that the neighbors didn't do it themselves already. That was upsetting. Like, how have you had this dog in your front yard? Not even like in a gate, just in your front yard. And it didn't seem like they fed the dog. It didn't seem like they gave the dog water. They just had this dog in the front yard for 3 days. And they didn't take the dog to the shelter. The shelter's like 10 minutes away. It wasn't even a long drive. And I was appalled. And kind of grossed out and disgusted. Like, the F. They're just sitting there watching TV, and there's a dog. I think the dog was there because they had a dog in their backyard, and that dog was very barky, and I got that, like, oh, they're kind of the same breed or whatever, so it feels safe there. That was why. But it's still like not okay. Like treat others as you would want to be treated, and that extends to animals. Like if my dog was found somewhere and they could get him, I would like them to treat the dog well. Case in point, I mean, anyways, I'll tell that story later, but I felt like I could have done perhaps more, but I also did the right thing. So just think about it the next time you see a dog, and do the right thing. And I know if I post this, a lot of people are going to be like, oh my God, the Pound, they torture dogs and they do all these horrible things. And, you know, calling it a shelter is disingenuous. And, you know, you could be right. I could be wrong. And maybe they do horrible things. I don't know. I don't know. And if you have proof of that, then you should, you know, confront and handle that so it doesn't happen again. But not knowing that, to me, the safest place is there where the dog can get food and water and then showered and see if it has lice and fleas and all these other things and, you know, whatever. Just kind of the basic care. That's what we pay them for. That is, even though I'm not really like pro-government, that is the point of doing that. And even if I wasn't pro-government, I would still, like, if there was a group of people that were like, hey, we're going to basically set up a shelter for dogs locally, it's like, yeah, I'll donate some money to that. Why? Because I think that's a worthwhile thing. Because having animals is wonderful and amazing. And sometimes they get out, and I would like them to find their home. Or if not, I would like them to go to a safe area and for somebody to adopt them. I think that that's not a bad thing. So that's kind of my story time for the day. It was like a weird, good story. There was this other time where I'm at work, of all places. It's raining, and I hear this weird, like, rattling noise, like, and I'm like, what the heck is that? I'm like, way in the back 40, there's no one around. And I look, and there's this dog that's stuck. Like, because it had, like, this gallon jug on its leash, and the gallon jug was stuck. And so I, like, very gentle, unstick the gallon jug, and I'm like, it's got a tag, and I'm like, oh, that's great. And then there's another dog that's like a big Great Dane, like, super type of dog. Didn't attack me, thankfully. I was a little worried about that. But clearly the one that was stuck was the woman, and the one unstuck was the dude, and the dude was very protective of his female companion. So the short version is the girl had a tag on, called the number. The guy was like, I'm an hour away, and I still had 45 minutes left of work to do. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm at work. You need to come and get your dogs. And he's like, oh, I'm coming right now. I'm coming right now. And I did the only thing I could do, because I felt like if I didn't tie up the girl would just run away. And so would the boy, and then the dogs would be nowhere. So I tied up the girl, and the boy stayed around the girl, which is fine. Finished my work. I'm towing the dogs back. And at some point I had this realization. I was like, wait, he's 45 minutes away. Maybe he lives close by. So I call him again, and I was like, hey, man, I'm about to get off work. Where do you live? And he's like, what? And I'm like, where do you live? Maybe I can, like, drive the dogs to your house. And he's like, oh, yeah, that's a good idea. I didn't think about that. And I was like, I didn't either. So, granted, it's pouring rain. I'm soaked. I'm drenched because I live in Southern California, so it rarely rains. This was like one of those off days, and I'm just wearing like a sweatshirt, like something a little bit thicker than this. And I'm just drenched, not having a good day, toting this dog around like, oh my God. And yeah, it worked out. It worked out. He gave me the address. It was like 20 minutes away. Like, I don't know, like the dogs must have walked like 8 miles or more. Anyways. And he had someone who was there at his house, and then whatever, got the dogs home, and I was very happy about that. I think I bought myself a calzone as a reward. You never know there. But anyways, just all I say, this is not a pat myself on the back, because per my girlfriend, I've done this a couple times now, and it just, to me, it's just the right thing to do. Like, if you're in a grocery store and you see a kid who's like there's no parent around, the right thing to do is to inquire, like, hey, where are your parents? Do you need help? And blah blah blah. Similarly, a dog, doesn't speak English, it is the right thing to do what you can to find out, do they have a tag? You know, blah, blah, blah. See if you can help them because they need help, clearly. These dogs are so used to human help and human interference, human assistance rather, interference, that it really does a disservice to just be like, oh, well, they'll whatever. So anyways, that's kind of my 2 cents. That's my super long story time video. This is Plaidman checking out. I'm going to do more content. I'm shooting to do it every day. It's going to be random stuff. I have some upcoming things, so check it out. Feel free to comment, share, you know, like, Rumble, whatever. Love, send your love if you want more things. Tell me, you know, I got to trim my mustache or stuff like that. All right, guys and gals and people and aliens. I look forward to talking to you guys tomorrow. Bye.